What's going on, people? Welcome to Spoiler Alert for Suicide Squad. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and today I'm joined by Gary Swaby.
Yeah, I'm happy to be the newest member of the spoiler squad.
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah, man. Oh, I'll say something about that later. Richard Beatty Jr. Richard, man, say something, man. Don't mute yourself, brother.
Uh-oh.
People gotta hear your sexy voice, man.
He muted
Oh,
himself and ran away. He was too
yeah,
scared.
he's too scared, you know. All right, we'll skip Richard for now. Joining us for the first time on any of our podcasts, Mrs. Dana Abercrombie. Hello, Dana. You can unmute yourself too.
Hola, hola.
All right, so we're here. Rich, man, you just jump in whenever. Well, Rich said he was having thunderstorm problems or something, so I don't know what's going on there. So, all right, people, so we're here to talk about the Suicide Squad. Very divisive movie. With all these DC movies, it's never like a slam dunk. You know, like when a Marvel movie drops, it's pretty much universal praise, right? Then DC comes in, it's like some people love it, some people hate it, and very few people in the middle. All right, so as we usually do with Suicide Squad, we give you our quick take on it, then we just go into full discussion. So I'm going to go first. Okay, so I've seen this movie twice already. I saw it once at a screening with Dana, and then I went on Friday again with a friend. Now, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, I liked the first half, and then that second half fucked it up, and I was just very, like, kind of annoyed by the whole thing. Then when I saw it again, my feeling on that didn't change. I still feel the first half is way better than the last half. The last half is still stupid to me. I liked it a little bit more, and I could see myself watching another movie with these characters. This was in Batman vs. Superman, so I was fine with that. Gary, quick thoughts.
Yeah, as someone who really likes the comics, I was very optimistic about this movie, and I expected it to be just a really cool, fun action movie to watch with great characters and stuff like that. But after watching it, I'm slightly disappointed. The first half of the movie was, it was good. It was like average. And then after that, it kind of fell off, and I was very disappointed with the writing and everything in the film. But yeah, I'll get more into that as we go on.
Yeah, Dana, quick thoughts about the movie.
I hated it. It was trash buckets. it was. I will say this. I'm not gonna be one of those people who are like, oh my god, it was awful. It was good until it got really bad, and then it got really bad early on though. But yeah, it was 1% good, and the rest was just.
All right, Richard seems like he has joined us again. Rich, you good? All right, I guess he'll join us when he joins. All right, let's get into it. Oh, there you are. Okay, so Rich, quick thoughts on the movie, just like a minute, like 30-second thought on the movie.
Well, hold on a second. Let me just say this real quick. I do apologize for the malfunction. The DC fanboys that tried to shut down Rotten Tomatoes were unsuccessful, but they were successful in fucking up my connection at the beginning of this show. So my apologies.
Yeah, give us your quick thoughts before we get into it.
Real quick. I think the characters, well, in particularly Will Smith and I think it's Margot Robbie. That was the highlight of the movie for me. The characters themselves. The story had some issues, which we'll more than likely get into. But I thought it was an okay movie. Definitely better than Batman v Superman, without question. But it still has some issues with it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's get into it. So this is the first time we've seen the Suicide Squad in like an actual live-action film, right? For you, those who don't know, even though you should know, why would you not know about Suicide Squad if you're watching this? Spoiler alert, but whatever. So it's basically a team of bad guys, D-list bad guys put together to go on these dangerous missions that the government doesn't want anybody to know about. So, the movie starts off with, the whole cast being introduced, right? And this is the part of the movie I felt was like the best. You just get to know, even though we were just being told about them, we weren't really seeing them too much. I still enjoyed that, and it was just from the outside, like, okay, this movie's not going to be like grim dark like Batman vs Superman, which is good because that was one of my biggest beefs about the movie. It's like it was so depressing, you wanted to kill yourself watching this shit. So this one was at least fun, had like a cool, good soundtrack going on, so I enjoyed that a lot. It looked like a music video, and that was really good, but they also established the fact that it was connected to the other movies, like Superman's dead, we need some people to help us out in case a bad Superman shows up. So that's what this whole thing was about. And then you get to introduce Amanda Waller, who's a fucking badass. We'll get into her more. So yeah, let's talk about that intro. Gary, what'd you think of the way the movie set everything up?
Oh, I love the intro, to be honest. Like, that was the best part of the movie, like when they were introducing the characters, and that was when I was very optimistic about it. I thought, okay, this might actually turn out to be good because, they went into their backstories and stuff. I don't feel they did because I was under the assumption that we were going to get to see Batman from the villain's perspective, which we did kind of, but like they hyped it up like you would get to see how how he's this figure that everybody fears, like this force to be reckoned with. But he kind of just seemed like he seemed out of character, to be honest, like when he came for Deadshot, because like why would you approach him when he's with his daughter? And then like he basically just flew there to call the cops, basically. Like, what was the point? Why didn't you just call the cops in the first place? Like, why did you even show up? Like, it was stupid. But yeah, the definitely the first 20 minutes or so of the movie when they was showing all the backstories, that was the best part of the movie for me. And I had high hopes at that point.
I didn't think about the whole Batman thing. That is kind of dumb. But you know why they did that, right? Because they wanted to have Batman in there. Even though he shows up twice during these intros. It's like, how many other intros is he going to show up in, Just get Batman in there.
I wanted that scene to be like the comics, because like in the comics, he's really this force to be reckoned with. And with Deadshot, how he gets caught is like he's on a mission trying to, like basically when they first showed him and he was like, trying to get more money out of his client or whatever, he was basically on a mission like that. And then Batman swooped in and got him, and he kind of shot Batman in the process and stuff like that. I was hoping they would do that, but the way that he got caught was just kind of stupid, in my opinion. Like,
man, yeah, we're gonna get into more of that. How we could have made this a better movie. That already right there would have been a better intro, Yeah. Rich, get in here, man. What'd you think of that intro with all the characters and shit?
Yeah, the intro and then the fancy way that they introduce every character with the text and everything. I agree with Gary. That was the best part of the movie, which will make you feel optimistic of where it was headed. Yeah, I do agree there were some issues with the what you guys just described with the Batman situation, but overall, yeah, the intro was great. We had Amanda Waller basically talk about each character. And why they were a great asset to this team that she wanted to put together. So I thought that was handled very well, without question.
Awesome. Dana, intro, what'd you think?
Well, as you know, I was really excited when I saw the intro. I was like, oh my God, finally this seems to be a movie that's going to separate itself from the previous installments of like the Batman v Superman and the Man of Steel. It was really fun. It was exciting. But I kind of felt that they set themselves up to fail by having that intro, which later on in the movie you'll see. The introduction, if I can go a little bit, with how they did Batman.
Yeah, go for it.
The biggest issue was this. He caught Deadshot in an alley with his daughter, and Deadshot had a gun that was just, about to shoot Batman. My thing is this. We already know the trauma that Bruce Wayne has been through when he was a kid and what happened with his parents. Why would he come after Deadshot in that exact same pattern as what we saw when he lost his parents?
Damn, so that's some true shit. Yeah, he's going to traumatize that little girl.
Right. And from a psychological standpoint, why would Batman want to put this innocent child through the same trauma that he experienced?
Yeah, it's a great
point. I don't think they got that out. And to me, that is when I knew these people can't think. And that's kind of like the downfall. From there, the intro was really great, and then the whole Batman thing, and I'm like, why? As Gary was, not Gary, yes, Gary was previously saying, in the comics, he's kind of brought in differently. There was no purpose for Batman to be in that scene. He served no purpose at all, and it was a terrible introduction. You may have gotten that, woo, oh my God, Batman, but why are you doing that? And it was terrible.
Deadshot should have just told him that his mom's name was Martha too. That would have escalated the whole thing. Basically. No, you're right about that. It's like, why would Batman traumatize his little girl doing? I didn't even think about that shit. You're right. Yeah, that whole scene just fucked up now.
It's
You know?
really
Yeah.
out of character. Like he wouldn't try and catch somebody when they're with their kids, like when they're not even doing anything wrong. Like he would have
Exactly.
in that same scene where he was pulling off the hit or whatever. Like that's when Batman would have tried to get him. But obviously it was broad daylight, so I
But
guess
wait a
that's why
second.
he didn't.
Well, wait a second. Let me stop you there, Gary. Gotham needs a hero. It doesn't matter about the kids. That's what the writers thought. So they say, yeah, just leave it as is.
Oh man, but the cameo I actually did enjoy, even though he was there for like 2 seconds, was Flash when he caught Captain Boomerang. I thought that was pretty funny, and that was a good way of tying them together because if you read the comics, Captain Boomerang, he's the villain of the Flash, so it was good to get the Flash in there, even for just a hot second. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. I'm still a little weird about his costume; it looks like a Power Ranger outfit, but it was cool to see him in there regardless. I thought that was a better introduction than Batman. Batman's felt forced in both of them to me. The Flash one was natural. I'm like, okay, who's gonna stop Captain Boomerang? Flash, because that's his main villain. That made sense to me.
Also, can I talk about the Harley one, the Harley Joker one?
Yeah, let's talk. Yeah,
Because
go ahead.
like so he goes in the water, saves Harley. That kiss he gives her, like I know it's CPR, but it looked a bit too passionate. Like it looked like he was trying to rape her. And also, like in this movie, one of the things I have a problem with is they actually make the Joker seem like he cares about Harley when really he in the comics he's basically manipulating her from psychologically and stuff. But in the movie they made it seem like he's actually in love with her. But if he was actually in love with her, why wouldn't he save her from the car? Because obviously when Batman dives into the water to get them, Joker's already gone, so why wouldn't he pull out Harley with him? I don't understand that part.
Yeah, you know what? We're gonna jump right into that right now. Actually, since you brought it up, we're gonna talk about the Harley Quinn Joker thing because to me, I felt that whole thing was okay. Not only was it completely unnecessary to the movie, it wasn't in character for the Joker. When he left her in that car in the bottom water, that's what Joker would do. Joker treats Harley like a possession, right? He's not really in love with her. So
exactly.
Then when he was going out of his way to rescue her and stuff, shoving her out of the helicopter and stuff, like Joker wouldn't do that shit. Like I understand this movie is different, but at the same time, you got to be true to the characters, right? Like it kind of undermines the whole premise of you're really supposed to feel bad for Harley because she's in this horrible abusive relationship, but in this one it seemed kind of nice, comparatively speaking, So I definitely had an issue with that. I would have been happier if the Joker was not in this movie at all, to be honest. We'll get into his version of Joker too, because the more I think about it, even though my opinion has changed on the movie as far as I liked it a little bit more, I actually think the more I think about Joker, the more I dislike him. But we'll get into that.
I completely disagree.
Yeah, go ahead, because I know you feel totally different about their relationship in this movie.
From a psychological standpoint, I can understand, he's always abusive towards her. But there has to be a moment where she actually thinks that he cares about her, even if he never does. And he left her in the water. That part you could see he didn't care about her. When the whole helicopter plane scene went, it was because the car jerked. Many people think that he threw her out of the helicopter, when it jerked. And for me, I never really saw it as him being madly in love with her. I saw it as her being like a commodity. And even when he went to go and rescue her, that to me is along of playing mind games. You know how if you're in an abusive relationship and the guy beats you, and then the next day, oh, I'm really sorry, here's some flowers, and you're like, oh, he really cares, even though I have a black eye? That's how I viewed it. So I didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, Rich, what do you think?
I feel like
Gary, yeah.
I feel like Joker would only actually, the real Joker from the comics would only go through all that effort of trying to break Harley out if he had some bigger motive. He wouldn't do it simply just to set her free.
I completely agree. You're right, because he just seemed like he was freeing her just for the sake of freeing her because he's in love with her. It's no, Joker, he would have some ulterior motive to freeing her,
Yeah.
So, Rich, what do you think of the relationship aspect between Joker and Harley in the movie?
Well, I think there's been some good points on both sides of this particular argument. Now, I obviously didn't write the movie, but I honestly think that, the way that they did the relationship in the movie, this is the whole reason why the Joker was in the movie to begin with. Because otherwise, I don't think you would have him in this movie. You could have had him again to emphasize that really Harley is the one that cares about him, but she's a bit delusional in thinking that it's on the same it's the same type of feeling that he feels. Yeah, but I honestly think this is the only reason why you had him. The screening I went to, they saw a Joker at the end. There were people clapping, like, "Oh yeah," they were happy to see the Joker. So I mean, I feel like the Joker was only in this movie for that particular relationship, and yeah, I do agree it is a bit out of character for him to also feel the exact same way she feels, because I know that from what we've seen in the cartoon, it definitely wasn't that type of relationship. Yeah, it definitely was one about manipulation, but I don't know. They wanted to change it up to make it somewhat interesting. Also controversial, similar to how Killing Joke was. But
oh man,
that's what that's all about.
Yeah. Before we get to like the main villain of Suicide Squad, because that's where I have the biggest issues. Let's actually talk about the Joker some more, right? I don't know if I'm okay. I'm not mad about this portrayal of the Joker, but at the same time, I feel that he doesn't have any sort of like menace or something. Like you see this guy's like, okay, what's the worst he gonna? He's just gonna touch me. He's not gonna kill me or anything. Like he didn't seem very dangerous, like very toothless Joker. Ironically enough, since he has no teeth in this movie, like he killed that one dude in the beginning, and that was kind of it. Like I don't know, man. I wasn't really feeling it too much.
Yeah, it's like they tried a bit too hard to make him seem menacing, but it just wasn't working. Like with Heath Ledger, it was like the subtle things that he did that really made the character and made you see how menacing he is. But this guy it just seemed like he was trying too hard, and he just came off as like an emo thug on ecstasy or something. So.
Yeah, man. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, it did look like he did a heavy amount of drugs. I didn't mind that. That's fine. That's a little bit different. And I do like the fact that his skin was actually really white this time. It wasn't just painted on like the last two. Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson, they just painted themselves. So this one, he was the real deal. But at the same time, he just didn't have that menacing presence to me that Joker is supposed to. Like, Joker, if you just need to look at him, you're like, oh shit, this dude is dangerous. But this guy's like, I don't know. This guy's not gonna do nothing, but maybe sit on my lap and touch me,
Yeah.
Rich, get in here, man. Go ahead, Dana. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I completely disagree. I thought that it was the most realistic portrayal of a Joker. I mean, we're going to always get different versions, but for him, and I don't think you can compare it to anybody else, and I think that's kind of unfair. I think he brought in his own personality, and for me, it was a guy who was probably normal, who took way too many drugs, and after a while, it just destroyed his brain, and to me, it was more like a kingpin. You saw him in the club, and when he was with Tattoo Man, you can see the manipulation that he would do when he was trying to offer Harley to Tattoo Man, and he was like, no, but then he was like, yes, take her, and you did not know what to expect from him. He seemed completely off. And another thing, though, Jared Leto has stated on record that there was a lot more to Joker that they had cut out that we did not see. And I have no idea why they left it on the cutting room floor. Even Jared didn't know. And he gave an interview, and it was the most depressing thing I've ever seen. Where he had it. He had all these different scenes that he was doing, and it was expressing the character, and they just cut it for no reason. And so he came off looking like a side mission in a video game.
Yeah, I heard they cut a scene where he was calling for Harley, and then she didn't come because she wanted to stay with the squad. Like I really wish they would have put that in there.
Yeah, maybe that's part of the reason, because you're right. When he was in the club and stuff, when he was like, that's the other thing. Like he seemed to me like he was Tony Montana on super drugs, right? Which is fine, And then that scene where he shoots Common, right? That was actually a very good scene because he tricks them. He basically tricks him. I wanted to see more of that in there, but again, this goes back to either Joker should actually. I'll get to that in a bit. I was a bit jump ahead of myself. Rich, what do you think of Joker's portrayal overall?
Well, I thought once again everybody had some. I agree with a lot of what was said on both sides. I think that the character obviously is supposed to be a lot more dangerous, a lot more manipulative and deceptive. I think in this particular film, you wasn't going to get that because he wasn't the focal point of the film. Also because he didn't have an opposing villain that he was facing, or a hero, I would say. Because we only saw like in the beginning when they went into a little bit of Harley's backstory, you see the Batman, but you didn't really see a like showdown between Batman and the Joker, because of course they're supposed to make each other better when they go against each other. But we didn't get that dynamic in this film because he wasn't really the focal point of the film. It was supposed to be about the group. So it is depressing to know that they cut so much out, because I'm pretty sure they cut a hell of a lot more out than just the Joker. But hopefully we do get to see more of that, because I think that from what we saw, I thought it was pretty good. But obviously, yeah, there's a lot more that you want to see to get a feel for how he's playing the character.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I was going to say was I think either Joker should have been not in the movie at all, or should have been the actual main villain. Either one of those would have worked, you know, because as he is now, it didn't work for me, and that's actually going to transition to the main threat of the movie, right? Now, I find it very annoying when the main threat in a movie is caused by the heroes, right? Or in this case, Amanda Waller. Like, all that shit happened because of her being crazy trying to form this team, right? The Enchantress, she gets free and she tries to destroy the world, and yet we see another movie with a giant pillar in the sky, you know, of light. Is like, everybody's doing this shit now? Really? The fucking Mass Effect 3 beam? You know? That was kind of dumb to me. So yeah, like, to me, when they actually started getting to the main quote-unquote plot of the movie, let's stop with the Enchantress. They're in Midway City, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay, this is getting dumb now, you know? And then by the third act, it got really stupid. So that's when it got disappointing, because even though I understand that this movie is based on an actual story, I didn't know about this. It was actually based on a real story and stuff with the Enchantress and stuff. I still felt it would have been a better movie if they had handled a lower level threat, like maybe something that was contained within a city block or two. You know what I'm saying? Like, why did they need to fight like a doomsday scenario type villain? Like, you don't need that. It's a Suicide Squad. You know, like bring it back down to earth a little bit, at least for this first movie. Maybe make them fight somebody crazy in like the third movie or something. But the first one, keep it local. You know, think about it like this. This movie was almost like a game. It had your minion guys, right, that you could just kill off easily, and you had the final boss battle and stuff. Like, come on, really? Go ahead, Gary. Yeah, I'm about to. Yeah.
Them to do like a Deathstroke or something like that as like the villain, like just someone, you know, more realistic kind of thing.
Man, could you imagine Deathstroke versus Deadshot? That would have been amazing. Nuts. Yeah, but again, why the Joker could have been a great main villain. You know, maybe he took over like a part of the city with some fucking Joker gas and shit, and they're like, okay, we got to stop this crazy guy. And then Harley, you know, she's like torn, like, okay, you know, I want to try to do good with the team because she got to know him a little better, but that's Joker, you know, so they could have done something really interesting there.
The only reason I wouldn't want them to use Joker is because I want to see Joker in a Batman movie. So that's the only reason why I'd say no to that.
Yeah, so you would go with like Deathstroke, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, Rich, what would you think of the whole, you know, main villain, the main plot part of the movie?
Okay, let me just give a warning. This may be a little bit of a rant, but there's a lot of issues I had with this particular villain.
Go for it, man. Spoiler alert, go nuts.
Okay, first and foremost, I know that they said that this movie, obviously, there was a lot of people that had some control over what the final product was going to be. I have to say it had to be, this is where it was most evident that there were issues. Because let me give a perfect example. Now, before they have the final confrontation with the witch, Enchantress, whatever the hell you want to call her. Once they have that final confrontation, they have the sequence where she has them dream about what they actually want. Okay, you know, you see Harley, she has a dream that she's with Joker, they have kids, she has a normal life. Some of those were great, but then you get to Will Smith's character. The whole movie, Will Smith, all he wants to do is get back, you know, spend time with his kid, get back with her. When he has the dream sequence, his dream is, I finally killed Batman. That made absolutely no sense at all, because the whole time the movie's building up, oh yeah, you know, he wants to get back with his kid. So obviously I was expecting some type of memory where he's with his kid, he doesn't have any issues. But no, it's about, I have to kill Batman, I killed Batman. That made no sense. Getting to the actual villain itself, yeah, very very disappointing for all the reasons that you mentioned. But I could just tell the influences that when they saw this movie. The biggest issue I had is once they did defeat the villain, how we have the cliche Ghostbusters ending where yes, the all of a sudden, of course, all of the bad guys, they were the ones that saved the city, but they got shitted on at the end. No, all of y'all are going back to jail. You have a little bit of privileges, but you're still going back to jail. Whereas, of course, Flag, he got his woman in the end, and all's good. Whereas that character, I'm like, man, I don't really care about that character. I wanted to see the others succeed, but I mean, you could say at the end Harley gets free from the Joker, and you could imply that perhaps maybe the Joker helps break out the rest of the group, but we don't know that because they didn't show us that. So,
no, he won't do that.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't care about that. By the way, I should add, since you talked about Ghostbusters, right? Making it even more like Ghostbusters. Remember, like how he freed his woman? Like he had to break her. Like she broke herself out of that thing. That's what happened with the terror dogs. Remember the terror dogs?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that whole thing was Ghostbusters to me. Like she, the way the sky was and stuff. Her doing those weird funky dances. Just like what's the name of the villain from Ghostbusters again? The woman. It looked like her basically.
Zool she plays Zool?
Yeah, Zool. Yeah.
Zool, the destroyer of worlds.
Yeah. Well, I have one last thing I'm going to add before you move on. The one last thing I did want to complain about. I know the El Diablo character, and he had his little transformation at the end. Of course, he did not survive his fight, but I had an issue with that because they did attempt to show the backstory of him and how he had a family. How he actually killed that family or played a role in them dying, and then he makes the statement in the movie like, "I've already lost one family. I don't want to lose you guys as a family either." I'm thinking to myself, when the hell did they establish was the bond so strong that they're now considered a family? That didn't make any kind of sense. But they feel like they rushed that for the sake of we have to do all this. And again, what you guys said. If you would have done several movies and built up where you had this huge villain you faced in maybe the second or third movie, then I could see, okay, because they had enough time to really gel as a group and know each other. But no, he just already jumped to the conclusion, I was just thinking about my family. You know what? You guys remind me of my new family, so I have to mention this now. Didn't make any sense.
Man, you know what? And going off on that whole thing, because that's obviously bad editing, right? Here's one part, speaking of bad editing, that I thought was annoying because it was a great part and they ruined it. Okay, remember the part where Rick Flag is like, all right, guys, that's it. You're all free. My man Boomerang dips. I thought it was hilarious. And then he just comes back out of nowhere. It's like, really, dude? Really? Like, you know what? You could have had some, like a sentence. Oh, when you come back, I had nothing better to do. Even that would have been fine. No, he just shows up like, okay, cool. Stupid editing.
The editing was terrible. Like there'd be scenes where they're all messed up, and then like in the next scene they're all clean and like fine and stuff. Like the editing was terrible.
But Dana, go ahead about the main villain because I know you had some specific gripes about her and her dancing.
Oh God, you mean Shakira 2.0?
Yes.
Hips Don't Lie music video set starring Ghostbusters. Oh my God, Jesus, couldn't save this movie. It was just, they had this villain, and I had so many problems with her, and I had so many problems with how they set her up. Now you have this all-powerful witch that you can control by putting her heart in a case, and it's supposed to be this, secret case, and nobody can get to it because she knows that June Moon knows where probably, June Moon and Enchantress share the same body, and if you share information with one person, you share it with the other person, as a consequence. My thing is this: if you have something as precious and vital as someone's heart, why in the world would you place it on your bed, in your house, and then keep the statue of her brother up on a shelf like it's a part of the decoration? That I did not understand, and I thought that they completely mishandled that. So right there, I already knew that, oh, this is just weak, and this is very simple writing. Then when you get into the part of the actual battle scene, it made no sense. It had her fighting, and then all of a sudden she just, was able to toss everyone's weapons away. Yeah. Why not just do that in the beginning?
So man, I thought the same thing, Dana. I thought the same. Like, why did she just do it from the beginning? They obviously just threw that in there just for have a sequence, but it doesn't mean anything if.
It doesn't. And then on top of that, they tried to make this romance, this love story, with Kara is about as great as an actress as a cardboard. I did not feel anything romantic between those two. And even when you go to the corny ending where she busts out of her mud mask shell, it was just so corny and so bad. And there wasn't a connection with any of the characters. And this goes back to, remember when they introduced them and they showed what their powers were? For example, we had Killer Croc, who's a cannibal. Where did we see that power in the movie? Please explain to me, because he wasn't eating anything aside from a pig that they gave him in the hole.
Yeah, like he bit a guy. That's about it. He just bit a dude.
He bit a guy, but the villains are so easy to destroy. You bop them in the head and they just explode. Yeah. It was like crap. I didn't understand that. And going back to what Gary said with the whole El Diablo, I actually was vested in his story. I really liked how they did it. They fleshed it out very well, but then they just ruined it with, "You're my family!" Like, really? I did not see any moment where they bonded as a family, except for the only time when they was trying to get, I can't remember the name right now, the head police guy.
Who, Flag?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. They was trying to get Flag out, and that was only because they knew that if he died, they would die. So is that supposed to be some form of a we're family now bond?
Yeah, and remember, they were making fun of him for half the movie because he wasn't doing anything. So how does he feel close to them? They're making fun of him.
He was supposed to be this epic, great with weapons, and the entire time, Deadshot is there killing everybody, and the guy's off in the corner smoking a cigarette and scratching his ass. I didn't see anything from him. I didn't see a lot of things from any of the other characters aside from Deadshot. And Deadshot, yes, he was great with what he did, but for me, it was Will Smith playing Will Smith. And while that is good, it was not great. And I know that Will Smith, we've seen it before, he can actually go into a character and become that character, and you no longer see him as Will Smith anymore. But to me, it was just Will Smith with a mask on and a gun. So I didn't like it. I hated the Enchantress. It was like one of those first villains that you get in a video game. I wouldn't even consider it a boss battle.
Go ahead, Gary.
Oh no, I was just gonna say they wrote some terrible lines for Will Smith. Like during the end battle sequence, he actually said the line, "You are seriously evil."
Thank you.
Who wrote that? Like,
okay, not only now, but the whole movie they're telling you that they're the bad guys, that they're evil, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're evil. It's like, what the fuck? That was so stupid, man.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
It was horrible.
Yeah, I didn't mind him being Will Smith because let's just be honest, Deadshot doesn't have much of a personality, so that was fine injecting that in there. But at the same time, he just had some dumb lines in there, but his lines were still better than some of the others. I still think Will Smith was like, "Can I rewrite that real quick, please?"
No, I thought the Slipknot line was the worst thing I heard. There goes Slipknot. He can escape anything. It was like a Spider-Man. Or like a Superman, a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Superman. Like, really? And then they didn't do anything with him. I was looking forward to seeing at least him doing something.
Oh, I knew he was going to kill him. It's like, okay, this is Suicide Squad. One of these guys needs to die early because remember, the threat of the bombs in their neck, you need to actually show someone dying. Who's going to die? The motherfucker you never seen in any of the trailers. That's
right, but here's the thing. If you're going to have him die, at least let me see some skills as opposed to you just zip-lining on top of a building.
Yeah, that's
really?
True. Yeah,
that's how you got away?
Yeah, Slipknot's a dumb villain, though. Stupid villains. Yeah, go ahead.
There's one scene that I really had a problem with, too. Like, when Harley falls out of the helicopter, right? Yeah. How does she land into a roll and not injure herself at all? Like, how are her legs not broken?
Yeah.
Well, they never showed the distance between the building.
Wait a second.
But when it showed her, she was like falling backwards like this, and it seemed like she was like way high from the ground. and then she just lands on her feet into a roll. Like it was stupid.
I agree with you. The editing on that was really weird too. Go ahead, Rich.
I was just going to say I can answer that question, Gary. They're supervillains, so obviously they can survive anything.
She's not super though.
I do need to bring this up though. You notice that there was like 3 helicopter crashes, right? And nobody died in any of them. It's like, really? It's like everybody's walking away like, oh man, that was unpleasant, but that was about it. But yeah, the main villain to me, that was like the worst aspect of it. But I do want to quickly talk about El Diablo because aside from that line, I actually did like the character, He was trying to be a good guy after he killed his fucking family, So I actually did enjoy him. And even though it was stupid when he turned to that giant Aztec god, it was also kind of cool too at the same time, if you know what I mean. Like I didn't like the fact that he had to turn to that, but I like the fact that he could do that. Like it would have been cool if he did that in like a 3rd movie or something. Like, oh shit, that's why you can do that crap. You have an actual fucking god inside you. But again, just ham-fisted. And you're right, Killer Croc, man, like talk about underutilized. He didn't need to be in this movie either. And I'm gonna say it right now. This motherfucker, because people, complain about how this movie, it makes like horrible stereotypes. Killer Croc was a bad stereotype. It's like, okay, you made him into a black character, which is fine, right? And then he's like, oh, I want BET. I'm like, really, son? BET?
Yeah. The only thing they were missing from that scene where he was sitting watching BET, where is his 40?
Yeah.
While he's watching
40 ounce.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Well, my biggest problem was how they described him when they was doing the intros. They said that he basically had a skin condition, and I'm like, oh, you have eczema. When in actuality, if you look in the comics, it's his whole genome, like it changes.
Yeah.
He evolves into this creature, and like, why would you say skin condition? Like, put some uricin on and keep it moving.
Yeah, it's like that's a hell of a skin condition you got. You got scales, my man. That's not a skin condition. Something's going on here. I agree with you, and they could have easily said that. Oh yeah, he's just devolving. I mean, if you're gonna have a line go, oh yeah, she has a sword with the souls of her husband in there. It's like, okay, if you're gonna say a line like that, you may as well just say, okay, this guy's DNA is changing. Because by the way, that was weird too. It's like I don't mind the whole thing with Katana, but at the same time, it's like you can't just throw shit like that at people without properly explaining it. It's like, really, she has souls in his fucking sword, just like that.
They brought that up, and it really didn't show any type of souls being in the sword. It was just her chopping up people and crying in the corner when she wasn't killing people.
Yeah, like the sword was like a little steamy. That's about it. It's like, okay, so that steam supposed to be a soul? Like, come on, guys. And then Captain Boomerang has that line like, oh, it's always the crazy ones. Like, okay, they're trying to play it off, but come on, you got like that sword didn't seem any special to me at all. Like, okay, what is the use of having a sword that could capture the souls of people when you're just cutting up soulless monsters? Think about that. Yeah, and those villains were stupid too. I didn't like them. Like cannon fodder villains, Like Age of Ultron. Remember they fought a bunch of Ultrons. It's like, really, like, this isn't even a threat,
No, they were humans.
They were humans, but they were already dead, though. That's the thing.
Dead. I thought they were still there. Well, I don't.
No,
they were dead.
Because remember, this is PG-13. They can't just go around killing people like that.
Their souls were like, taken over, but they were still there. Kind of like the whole June Moon in Enchantress.
By the way, what kind of somebody pointed this up online? What kind of archaeologist shows up to a cave, right, and just starts breaking statues? It's like this bitch would be a little bit more careful. It's like, oh look, there's a file. Let me crack it open and see what happens. No archaeologists do this. That's like those scientists from Prometheus. Hey, there's an alien. Let me touch it. No, you wouldn't do that.
Yes.
Oh man. So all right. So we pretty much talked about the movie. So I guess we have to do this if they make a sequel, right? If they make a Suicide Squad sequel, because it seems like it's actually making good money. Here's the interesting thing about Suicide Squad. Even though we're not too keen on it, most people actually seem to like the movie. Unlike the critics hated it, people seem to like the movie. So we may get a sequel. So if they make one, what would you like to see? And Gary, I'm going to go to you first because you actually read Suicide Squad. So what would you like the sequel to do?
I would like them to focus a lot more on the squad itself and them interacting with each other and their abilities and have them all fully utilized and fleshed out and stuff. So I mean, they could kind of scale back on, you know, the references to the DC universe, like, you know, all the other characters and all the other stuff going on, and just put them on like a simple mission that really shows their character. And we don't want some huge, overpowered, you know, villain like the Enchantress. We want, you know, something that will really show their abilities. And someone like Deathstroke, basically. And yeah, that's it. Just better writing overall as well, because the writing really fell off in this movie, I think, towards the end.
Yeah.
So
now I'll come back to myself later because I kind of pretty much agree with you. It's like, just give us a better written movie, you know, less of a thread and stuff, and focus more on the characters. There is something I do want, but I'll come back to that later. Dana, what do you want in a sequel?
I want Warner Brothers to hire actually experienced directors. That would be great. And then writers who can build a story from, you know, A, B, and C. And then also editors that want to stay on the project, or at least map out what the next editor should do. That would be a dream right there. That's a miracle. But going with what Gary said, I also want to show more interaction with the Suicide Squad. Make me care. The whole thing was I did not care about these people. And you spent all this time fleshing out 2 characters. I want to know what's going on with the other ones. I want to know their backstory. I want them to interact and to have personalities that is separate and not so much of a stereotype. Just make these people blend together and work. And I want a villain. I don't care if it's a massive threat, like, say, I'm just happy Zod wasn't in it. I'm just going to say that. But have a villain that actually makes me say, oh shit, we in trouble. You know, make me care, not something localized where, you know, somebody's grandma went and ingested a ghost and now she's terrorizing the neighborhood kids. Have it so that I want these characters to succeed. I want them to destroy this villain because this is a real threat. Something as simple as that. That is my dream. That's my dream for all DC movies. But the next, you know, sequel, please do that. And be more focused. Don't have 3 different storylines going on at the same time. I don't need a side mission. I just need one story, and I'll be happy. I can focus that way.
There you go. All right, Rich, what do you want in a sequel?
Yes, I have to agree with what Dana and Gary said. Obviously, first and foremost, they have to map out a plan for a good story, and they have to remain consistent. Now, I understand that they possibly saw the response of Batman v Superman. They said, oh, well, you know, this movie is too serious. We got to get more playful. I'm okay with some of the jokes that were said in the movie, but for the most part, they should not let any other movie determine how they approach things moving forward. You know, they map out a plan for this particular movie. Stick to that plan. Don't worry about what Marvel is doing, especially. Because I did see, you know, the little sequence where we had Harley Quinn in the elevator, and shout out to Rams because he pointed out, that reminded me very much of the Winter Soldier with Captain America when he was also in an elevator and had a fight in that same elevator. So, yeah, they need to not worry about the competition. Just if you're confident in in the characters, you can actually build upon the characters and make the dynamic more of an actual team type of movie. Then you'll have a good movie. But you can't worry about the bullshit. You just got to focus on what you're trying to convey with the actual message in the team itself. So, better story, better chemistry, better fleshing out of all characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys pretty much, you know, hit it on the head there. Yeah, better writing, better director, better writers, all that shit will make for a better movie. Right now, as for specifics, I want to give a quick shout out to Jackal here in the comments. He goes, he wants the next movie to take them to a different country and to take on some type of covert mission. Because remember, these guys are really serving the United States, right? Their mission is to do shit that nobody's supposed to even know about. So I think it would be it would be cool if they actually take him to another country and stuff and let him do some shit. And like you said, we don't need 50 million plots. Just one or like you have a main plot and then like a subplot. It could be like a twist, like oh shit, we're actually here for this reason. You know, it doesn't need to be anything that the whole world needs to know about. It needs to be something that's a covert mission. And I want them to, you know, I want to have a bigger roster so they actually could kill more of them. There's supposed to be a Suicide Squad. I want to see more of them die. You know, too many of them got, you know, unscathed in this one. You know, and as for specifics, I want to see King Shark in the next one. Imagine that shit, man. You know,
I want to see King Shark, Black Manta, and Black Spider. I think his name is. I want to see them.
Yeah, don't kill all the black characters.
Well, no, they did a lot of that in this movie, though. A lot of people got a lot of minorities got finished in this movie. Whether they were the good guy, you know, whatever character they were, they got finished. I did want to make a quick comment. I have to, I feel like I have to mention the mid-credit scene because
we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I do have a conflict with that, but I'll wait till we get to that topic.
No, we could do that right now, man. Let's jump into it. So, what would you have to say about that, Rich?
Okay, so here's the thing about the mid-credit scene. I know this is a teaser for Justice League. That's fine. We know how important Justice League is. What I had an issue with this scene. And this is, again, going back to what I said of not really being focused, having too many things. You know, Bruce Wayne makes a line about, I want you to shut it down or we will shut it down for you. At the point when I asked the question, I had to ask myself, shut down what? Because they're already back in jail. You know, obviously, they're not, you know, it's not like they broke free at the end. As I alluded to earlier, we know that Harley broke free, but we don't know about the status of the other ones. I would assume they are all still there. So I don't understand what he's saying when he says break down the Suicide Squad or we'll do it for you. How are you going to do that when they're behind bars?
Well, no, remember, he's talking about the entire thing. Remember, just because they're behind bars doesn't mean they can't take them out in another mission. Like the Suicide Squad task force that's still exists as a unit, understand? It's just they don't go home at the end of the night. They go to jail at the end of the day, you know, so that's what it means. But I do want to touch on it because this is the part I didn't understand. Okay, so he comes in and he's like, okay, Amanda Waller, I, Bruce Wayne, am going to protect you from any repercussions. And then at the end he goes, oh, but by the way, I'm going to make sure my team's going to shut your team down. It's like, so why would you want to save her from repercussions then? Why not let her face all that heat? You know, that as a matter of fact, that heat that she would get from, like, you know, all the other people would have Task Force S shut down. He wouldn't even need to bring in the Justice League for that. So I didn't understand how he would help her and then tell her, no, I'm going to shut you down. That it seemed like a conflict of interest there.
Yeah, that whole scene was just forced. It was there for no reason, and it served no purpose. And it actually makes me hate Bruce Wayne now because, like, Bruce Wayne would not be meeting with Amanda Waller. Like, he would not. Like, he's the type of person who would not condone the Task Force X in the first place. Like, he would want no parts of it whatsoever, and he wouldn't be meeting with Amanda Waller. Like, it's really out of character for Bruce Wayne to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the last part of it was in character where he's like, I'm going to shut it down, but it should have been like, oh, as soon as he finds out about it, it's like, okay, that's it. I'm shutting your ass down. This is not going to happen on my watch. But at the same time, it's like, okay, this is what I find weird, too. We're getting deep into this scene now. Okay. So he apparently met with her. He made this deal with her because he wanted to know more about the Justice League, right? He's fucking Batman. He could do that shit on his own, man.
Exactly.
He had enough information from Wonder Woman, you know? He doesn't need it.
Why didn't he just get that USB from Wonder Woman? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, go ahead, Dana.
I think it was due to really poor editing. I think that whole scene could have been explained very simply. I wanted to see the fallout behind what happened after they killed the Enchantress. I think if we have seen the government's reaction and you know, how the destruction caused all this damage and how people are like wondering what's going on or if they're living in fear, that would have explained everything to me. But they didn't do that, so it comes across as shut it down, but this is a secret program that nobody knows about. If they had just added that scene, then everything would have been explained. And the whole part about Batman asking for files was very redundant because it was already done in Batman v Superman, and it just makes Batman look like he's a hoarder. Why do you need all these files that you already have? That was not explained at all, and that, again, terrible editing.
Yeah, definitely, man. So again, it was just a very, very forced scene. You know, they just needed there to have that connective tissue, but you could have had it done a better way. By the way, I do need to quickly say I did enjoy the parts of the movie, even though they were extremely fleeting, where they actually made you feel like, okay, these superpowered people are a threat to the world. Like by the way, there was a scene where like, oh yeah, what would happen if Superman ripped the roof off the White House and took out the president? That's actually what happens in Superman 2. If you guys remember that, you know. So I'm like, okay, you could kind of understand why they would need a task force S, but it would have been nice if they would expound on that even more. You know, like the threat that these kind of people would have on the planet. I mean, there was even a scene where Enchantress literally takes like files from was it Tehran and brings it to America. It's like, oh shit, what if the reverse happens? What if they take our files and bring it to the enemy, right? But they didn't touch on that because again, like you said, Dana, they just want to keep it simple. But it's like if you're gonna dip your toe in there, just go in a little bit further, you know? Like we're not stupid like that. People would appreciate being treated like smart, but I guess they don't care about that. All right, so that's pretty much it for this. So I'm just gonna wrap it up with the last thing. Where do we rank this movie in the with the three DC movies that have been out already? My personal ranking is Man of Steel that comes first. This one's second, and then the doo-doo trash pile that was Batman versus Superman comes in third. Gary, what about you? What's your ranking?
Mine's exactly the same as yours. So,
All right.
yeah.
Rich.
Well, if I have to compare all three of those movies, people will not like this response. I'm gonna have to say Suicide Squad above every other movie. You could put, you can still have Batman v Superman as the third and worst on the list. Man of Steel number two, but I just this movie has some potential. I still think
fair.
it was.
Yeah.
I still think it was more enjoyable than the other two.
All right, Dana, what's your ranking?
That's actually a hard one because while this was completely awful, it made it even worse because the solution was very easy. So I would have to say this may actually be the worst one. Then comes Batman v Superman, and then no. Then comes Man of Steel. Wait, this is the worst. The second worst would be Batman v Superman, and the third worst is Man of Steel.
Oh wow! All right,
Because
so there you,
to solve everything.
Wow, she did it from worst to best. Like, wow, that's crazy.
yeah, I like
Serious.
that. All right, so that does it for the spoiler alert. Please share it around. After you see the movie, don't ruin it for people. But I'm gonna say I'm at least hopeful for DC now. I know they're gonna bring Jeff Johns in, who's Mr. Fixed It for a reason. I love what he's doing with the comics now, and he's the president of DC overall. So hopefully he'll get shit together. We'll see what happens with Wonder Woman because that's the first movie. He actually helped write that one too. So we'll see. Because remember, at the end of the day, DC's not making these movies. It's Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers doesn't give a shit. They just want that money. It's not like Marvel. Marvel's making the movies directly, and they care about their own characters. Warner Brothers doesn't give a shit. They almost sold DC a few years ago, so that lets you know right there they don't give a shit. But hopefully with Jeff Johns, they'll leave this man alone, let him do his thing. So that's it for this episode. So once again, I was Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Gary Swaby.
You were seriously evil.
Richard Bailey Jr.
Yes. Talk to you all later.
and Dana Abercrombie.
Please don't kill me on the internet or any threats.
All right, guys. Peace.